Hey y'all, it's Kobe R. Rice back again with another episode of Unapologetically Melanated Media Crit. And I just wanted to weigh in on some foolishness that I'm seeing around the internet nowadays. And I've actually been seeing this for the past few years. And each time I see this, and the people who sort of tout this ridiculous philosophy, it just pisses me off. And it's just about time that I just finally start talking about it. Let's just put it that way. So recently, I think it was Ti or some other rapper or someone like that who posted that black, gay, effeminate men are basically helping to kill the black community. And this is something that I've been hearing a lot in like the black consciousness circles, the black men who are these higher intellectuals whose minds have been freed from white Jesus and white supremacy, which is all well and good, and I'm down with that, are in the same breath jettisoning the very soldiers and bodies that we need as a people, just because those soldiers and bodies tend to prefer genitalia that reflect their own, which is ridiculous on many different levels, because ultimately I see personal relationships and sexual relationships to be a very private thing between two consenting adults. Sort of like when Umar Johnson was caught up with that stripper, and instead of lambasting and denigrating Umar Johnson, a lot of people came out the woodwork basically saying that he had the right as a man, as a independent, consensual, grown human being to engage in consensual relations with another person. And I agreed with that wholeheartedly. But when it comes to defending the consensuality and the mutuality between two gay individuals who interact sexually, suddenly we have this weird cognitive dissonance. And I just wanted to address a lot of that dissonance along with all of these fake ass myths about how gayness is destroying our community. First and foremost, and this is not only towards black men that I'm talking to, but also towards the black women who hold this ridiculous philosophy. Black male masculinity, power, authority, and standing in society, newsflash, was under attack literally centuries before being out loud, gay, and proud was a thing. When we all came on these shores of this country in chains, getting beaten, raped, mutilated, tortured, sold, etc., I'm pretty sure black masculinity was very much under attack. Okay. And actually was not black gay men who were destroying the community at that point. It was actually the white slave masters who either were gay or had gay tendencies who were raping the men alongside raping the women. So if you're going to try to point at anyone for being sort of like the genesis of the destruction of black masculinity, you should point that finger right into history, to slavery, to all those things that were happening, and then to modern day institutions of slavery, like incarceration, like the intense policing of our neighborhoods, like institutional racism, etc., etc. So before, the black gay and black lesbian movement was even a thing, black masculinity was basically being destroyed from day one. So I don't really understand this weird causal relationship that you guys are suddenly drawing literally centuries later, where you are rewriting and basically redoing history in order to support your homophobia. It doesn't make any sense. That's one. Get your history right. Two, when I think about what's destroying our community on a cultural level, I think about concrete, real life conditions like economics, like institutions, including the family institution, et cetera, et cetera. I think about the crime rate. I think about how men, women, children interact with one another. I think about love and support. I think about those concrete things that, if improved, can basically make some major improvements in our lives as a people. And honestly, when it comes to concrete institutional changes, at least in my personal circle, I'm not trying to make anecdotal evidence to be empirical evidence, but last time I checked, it was not the black gay men who were doing drive-bys on other black men and murdering them in the street. It's not black gay men generally who decide not to go into higher institutions of learning and education. Pretty much every single black gay male that I know has a college degree or higher and is contributing to the society around him and back to black people. It's not black gay men that, in my personal experience, have made me feel threatened and afraid and uncomfortable in the street. Just because I happen to have a vagina and, they other people have felt that it's their right to harass and heckle me because I have a vagina. Black gay men have never done any of those things to me or to our people. You hetero mofos, on the other hand, have a lot to think about and answer for. And I know that in the black consciousness community, there's a huge pushback against toxic masculinity because it's seen as like a white feminist sort of term that black women have adopted to bash black men with. But it's not really. Toxic masculinity in any sort of culture is really when you need to assert your manhood so much that it becomes toxic, not only to women, but to yourself and to your community. So when a guy in the club steps on your Pumas and you go out and you shoot him because you have to show and prove that you are the bigger hetero man, that is toxic masculinity. That is literally your masculinity getting out of control and getting to a point wherein your actions, based on you wanting to prove your manhood, your actions are now becoming toxic to the community and are proving to be a bad influence on the community and affecting our community poorly. It's the same thing when you decide to disrespect a woman in the street because she is not interested in talking to you. Your manhood feels hurt. Therefore, to prove your masculinity all the more, you decide to either come at her or aggress her verbally, emotionally, or physically. That is when your masculinity has turned toxic. And a lot of I don't even want to say like a lot of heterosexual black men, because that's not even true, but a lot of these hetero guys who are so homophobic, I'll say that, who are against black gays and black lesbians, have a lot of serious issues with toxic masculinity themselves. And my thing is that, I love black men. I respect black men. I support and uplift black men. But before you start pointing the finger at effeminate black men, you really need to check yourselves. Ask yourself what you, as a hetero, healthy black man, what are you doing to uplift the community? You as a hetero, healthy black woman, what are you doing to uplift the community? You liking dick as a woman or you liking pussy as a dude is not beneficial to me or my children or my community on a concrete, measurable, quantifiable level. That has nothing to do with our life circumstances and our life chances. So before you decide to start feeling bigger about yourself simply for being heterosexual, you need to ask yourself what your sexuality is actually doing for the community, and if anybody who is not like you is automatically not contributing to the community just by virtue of who they are. Really check yourself and ask yourself these questions before you come out against somebody else for engaging in practices that literally have nothing to do with you. Because again, like I said, black gay men are not out here shooting up other black men and killing other black men. Black gay men are not out here, trying to basically denigrate and hurt black women because they feel inferior inside because of their masculinity, because they don't have any power in their neighborhoods and in their country and in their society. So I'm going to ask all of you black consciousness dudes to really check yourselves. You don't have to immediately become feminist, or you don't have to become, pro LGBTQ. I mean, that would be great. But before you start pointing the finger at other people for their personal life choices and trying to attribute all of the ills of our society and our community on those people, really look at the people who are like you and ask yourself, what is my heterosexuality doing for the community? And that's pretty much all I have to say on that. I'm going to go eat my very black cornbread, and you guys have a lovely day. And leave my black, gay, lesbian, trans, and queer people alone. Nobody's bothering you. Nobody gives a damn about you. Go focus on the pussy that you claim you love so much and let everybody else just live. And in the meanwhile, challenge your heterosexual bros to do better and to uplift the community themselves. Peace.